All right, you guys know shit is getting serious when I whip out the blue light glasses. But anyway, let's get to today's topic, nutrition for bodybuilding. This is going to be the fundamental thing that's going to drive our progress. You can be training as hard as you want, taking all the gear in the world, sleeping 20 hours a day, but if your nutrition is dog shit, frankly, you will not see progress. So, how do we set our calories, macros, maintain our digestion, dial in our electrolytes, and micronutrients for performance, recovery, health, and longevity? I know, sounds like a lot, but when we break it down step by step, it's not as complicated as it sounds. So, first off, the goal at hand. We want to build muscle or maintain muscle in a deficit and push food as hard as we can, permitting digestion doesn't become overly disrupted. We're using our nutrition to support our training output. That training output is then going to drive the need for adaptation in the gym. So, our main levers: calories, macros, like I said before, digestion, how fiber can assist in that, electrolytes, vitamins, and minerals, and how all these play into maintaining a good state of internal health as well. So, first off, calories drive absolutely everything. If you're under eating calories, then at the end of the day, you simply will not gain weight. Same thing goes for if you are overeating calories. Eating way too fucking much food, you're gonna stay a fat fuck. You're gonna stay fat and retarded. So, how do we actually dial in the amount of calories we're gonna eat? Really simple, somewhat rudimentary way to do it would be finding one of those online calorie maintenance calculators, putting everything in there, and then giving that a week of trial and error. From there, you can move and keep adjusting until you figure out roughly what is going to keep my weight moving in whatever direction I want. So you can do that with just small incremental bumps up or down in carbohydrate. Say hypothetically, the calculator says you want 2,800 calories, you eat that, perfect. Weight isn't moving at all. You want to be gaining weight? Add 50 grams of carbs, roughly 200 calories. You want to lose some weight? We could maybe take away 50 grams of carbs, start doing more cardio, and then boom, 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 you're losing weight. So, like I said before, generally explains what we're going to do with our calories regarding our situation. So, this one as well, essentially going over the same thing, but what should you be doing? If you're a fat fuck, you need to diet down. It's simple. We need to make sure we get your blood sugar, your blood pressure, lipids, and digestion all in a good spot before we even consider getting you to grow muscle because your body isn't functioning ideally. Leaner individuals, obviously, we're going to be pushing up the food off rip because they're in a more ideal state to grow muscle. You're going to have better insulin sensitivity, nutrient partitioning. Typically, these will be people that might not have the best appetite, but it seems like over time, you can sort of progressively overload their food, get their appetite higher, and get them growing. But like anything else, slow, steady changes are going to win. You do not want to fucking shove an extra 2,000 calories at someone who's barely eating enough as is. That's a recipe for failure. So, when to increase: performance falling in the gym, body weight being stagnant, recovery feeling worse. So you're super sore leading into workouts, you're constantly feeling battered, pumps flatten out, and energy drops. Now, I would like to caveat this, that these could also be signs of overtraining as well. So, you come in the gym, you got no pumps, your joints feel like shit, you feel fucked up all the time. That could be also just a sign that you are under recovered / overtrained at that point in time, and you might want to consider a deload. So how can we separate those two? Frankly, it comes down to intuition. After a while, you can kind of figure out, okay, I'm really fucked up. I feel tired of shit in the gym, because if you're eating enough food to be persistently gaining weight, then it's probably not an issue of the amount of food that you're eating. Same thing. If you're in a deficit and you're not losing egregious amounts of weight and you're on PEDs permitting, I don't see a reason why you should be losing tremendous amounts of strength or performance on that side either. So it could be just a gentle push and pull. There's a good amount of intuition that goes into it. But listen to your body, take your feedback, and over time you'll get better at figuring those things out. So where are we going to actually add our food? Carbohydrates. Small increases, like I said before, typically somewhere between 50, maybe 100 grams of carbs at a time. Nothing much more than that. When you do that, you're going to fuck up someone's digestion, appetite, insulin sensitivity, all that stuff. You're just shoving food at them at a rate that the body, frankly, can't adapt to. All right, so when to decrease: fat gain rapidly accelerates. I see with a lot of people, their insulin sensitivity will just fall off of a fucking cliff, and then all of a sudden they just turn into a fat fuck. That is a really good spot to be like, all right, we're done with the surplus, time to cut down. When someone's appetite starts to get worse, their digestion worsens, their blood sugar and or blood pressure climbs. I got a little fucking light up there, that thing was flickering. Lipids worsen, so your blood lipids like cholesterol, LDL, HDL, all that shit worsens. You probably don't want to be in a surplus much longer, because now we're just stacking more stress onto our body, making our blood work worse, making ourselves more unhealthy, and then we're not probably making much progress. A healthy body is going to be a progressing body. Unhealthy body is going to be a lot harder to force in that direction. You sort of want to be coaxing your body, not forcing it. So, like I said before, inflammation gets higher, sleep quality drops, training quality declines, food stops becoming productive. If you're not getting stronger in the gym, what the fuck is the point of being in a surplus? If you're not gaining weight, your sleep is dog shit, you're not recovering. It's just leading into this self-perpetuating cycle of just getting worse and worse and worse the longer you remain in this sort of over-push state. So, setting our macros. To keep it simple, protein is going to be 1 to 1.5 grams per pound of body weight. I will include trace proteins in this. Usually it's going to be fairly stable year round. The only caveat would be when you're really deep in a cut or surplus, appetite is either extremely high or pretty darn low. We could pull this lever down or up a little bit to sort of toggle your appetite up or down. Now with GLPs in play, I wouldn't really worry about that nearly as much in a deficit, but that could be a tool to play if you are opposed to. Fats and carbs. Fats will typically set at 0.3 to 5 grams per pound of body weight. Carbs, remainder of calories. Most calorie changes are always going to come from carbs, regardless of dieting or bulking. Really, the only time is like maybe in like that midway phase of a diet when your fats start to get pretty low, but it's not going to be persistent, like I'm going to keep adding fats or I'm going to keep decreasing fats. We really don't have that much runway to tweak this. So protein, the building block, stimulates muscle protein synthesis, elevates mTOR, which is essentially like the signal to our body, you gotta fucking grow. Raises serum amino acid availability. You can push those amino acids into your muscle. It's going to expedite repair, recovery, building muscle. Reality check is most bodybuilders already eat more than enough. More is not always better. And excessive intake is often going to hurt your digestion. That's going to get to your colon. It's going to ferment. That fermentation is going to increase gas and irritation, bloating. Protein moves fairly slow through your GI, so it's just like you're going to have a compounding traffic jam. Your digestion is going to be fucked. So I would not recommend eating 600 grams of protein in the off season. Ask me how I know. All right, carbohydrates, the performance macronutrient. For hard training bodybuilders, carbs are arguably going to be by far the most important macronutrient for us to toggle for performance output and our aesthetic goals. So carbs support our training performance, glycogen replenishment, recovery capacity, pumps and output, mood, and sleep quality. When you're at the tail end of a diet, when you're sleeping like dog shit, sometimes we could put a lot of your carbs around bedtime and you'll be like, wow, I'm sleeping a lot better. Probably because in the middle of the night, when you're super duper lean, your blood sugar is just fucking crashing, and then you get that cortisol dump to get your blood sugar spike back up, and then you're fucking wired at like 3 in the morning. But carbohydrates are also important for thyroid function. As we go deeper and deeper into a diet, we'll see reverse T3 go up, which is going to impair thyroid function. You'll get more of that like foggy, tired feeling. Weight loss might stall out. All in all, it's just going to be more of that trying to force your body in a certain direction type of feeling instead of just gently coaxing it along. Your nervous system output, again, you'll start to feel really fucking tired if you're under eating on carbs severely. Your training volume tolerance, so your recoverability is going to decrease, and then staying full, looking around is going to be up to carbohydrates for the most part. When you think of our muscles, you dehydrate that muscle down, it's going to be a lot smaller. A lot of it is water, and then that glycogen is going to be pulling water, inflating our muscles. So you want to make sure that you're eating sufficient carbohydrates. If you're trying to look full in a diet, you're going to have to get flat at some point, but you don't want to dig down for too long, because then you can think of your muscle like a sponge. You dry it out for super duper long, it's going to be kind of hard to fill it out again. So gut health, resistant starches. Some carbohydrates will turn into resistant starches, such as cooked and cooled potatoes, cooked and cooled rice, oats, I tried the green bananas for a while, man. I can't fucking do it. They taste so fucking nasty. I remember seeing it on like a cement factory post. And I was like, fuck it, I'll give it a whirl. Nah, I'm so good. And now I don't fuck with beans because I feel like I'm gonna shit my brains out. But lots of benefits here: better gut health, improved insulin sensitivity, inflammation, stronger epithelial lining, and improved regularity. All in all, that's fucking awesome shit. So, what do I typically do? I use a pressure cooker. I cook all my carbs, my potatoes, rice, toss it in that shit, put it in a bunch of containers, put it in the fridge, and then I'm good. I got my resistant starches for the day. All right, dietary fats. Why are they important? They're not just calories. They support our hormones, cell membranes, bile, nervous system, and fat-soluble vitamin absorption. What the fuck does that mean? Whole bunch of shit that's helping us. Hormone production, especially for natural people. At the tail end of a diet, when your fats are extremely low, you are going to be hypogonadal, or what's the term for females? Amenorrhea. You'll lose your menstrual cycle. Cell membrane integrity. So like the membrane, the outside lining of our cells, is going to be comprised of fatty acids. So yep. So with the cell membrane integrity, that's going to help to maintain the phospholipid layer of your cell membranes. Essentially, it's going to make sure you can control what's going in and out of cells, essentially separating the cell from its environment. Bile production, which is going to help break down those fats. Brain and nervous system health. Majority of our brain is comprised of fat. All these vitamins, you need fat in order to absorb them. No fat present, you're not going to absorb them. You're going to become micronutrient deficient. So we do need fats at some level, especially our essential fatty acids. So sometimes what I will do, like when I'm taking all my orals and prep, I'll take it with my fish oil in the morning. And that way I don't notice as much of an effect on my digestion. Not all fats are equal. We want to limit our excess saturated fat. It's going to worsen our cholesterol, LDL-B, ApoB, and that's going to negatively affect our cardiovascular risk markers. For us bodybuilders, that's like the biggest thing we worry about, is having our fucking heart explode. So what can we do to mitigate this? Monounsaturated fatty acids, polyunsaturated fats, olive oil, avocado, nuts, fatty fish, fish oil, seeds, all that good shit. Slam a bunch of omega-3s, get a really high quality olive oil, limit your saturated fat intake, get some fiber in your diet, and should be pretty good. All right, fiber is underrated. Good segue there. So soluble fiber slows digestion, improves our glucose control, improves our lipid profiles, and feeds that beneficial gut bacteria. That's fucking awesome. Why am I not eating fiber? Insoluble fiber, stool bulk. So this is the one that's going to essentially be responsible for helping with our regularity with our bowel movements. So fiber feeds the gut. Remember before we talked about feeds beneficial gut bacteria. What the fuck does that even mean? It's going to help with the production of short-chain fatty acids. So, what the fuck does that mean? Don't worry, we'll talk about it on the next slide. Better colon health, reduce inflammation, improved gut barrier integrity. You know, when you think about your gut, it's like a big lining of cells, and we need to control what goes in and out of that membrane that is our gut. You know, if you let a bunch of bad shit get through, like lipopolysaccharides, shit like that, you're gonna be feeling like shit. So we want to make sure we keep that gut barrier integrity good, strong. So we're taking in our food, but we're not taking in other toxic bullshit. And improved insulin sensitivity. These are all our good sources if you want to pause and look. Oh, all right. So digestion is going to set the ceiling for our food, how big we can actually get. You are what you digest and assimilate and can eliminate. So if you can't digest your food, if you can't assimilate it, and you're having fucking diarrhea with every meal, not a good sign. Probably not getting much bigger from that point in the off season. You need to step back, assess what's going wrong, and then fix your digestion from there. So excessive food intake, excessive protein, poor food quality, poor meal timing, low fiber intake, and low food diversity can all be culprits of this. Oral steroid usage as well, poor bile flow, high stress. We want to make sure that parasympathetic nervous system is dialed. If you're constantly in that fight or flight state, your digestion is going to be way worse. Electrolyte imbalances, so being chronically dehydrated essentially is going to fuck up our digestion as well. And then low gut motility, shit not moving through your stomach. Like if anyone's seen, like when you take too much of a GLP-1, food's not moving through, you're fucking bloated shit all day. So probably don't take a bunch of GLPs if you're trying to get bigger. Probiotics, food wins every time. So what are we going to eat? Kefir, yogurt, sauerkraut, kimchi, kombucha. Kombucha is by far what I've seen to be the most potent for an actual food-based probiotic. If anyone's having like digestive issues, that's not already in their diet, which I'm frankly going to have in pretty much everyone's diet off rip, that's what I'll add. So why do supplements often fall short? Often they're going to have limited strains. They're not going to have much surviving bacteria unless it's a refrigerated one. Less diversity, and not a replacement for a quality diet that has very polyphenols, micronutrients, strains of probiotics. You know, Mother Nature is beautiful. Fucking God went crazy and gave us everything we need from nature for the most part. So you eat normal fucking food, you're not going to need a probiotic supplement. So oral and digestion. So oral steroids can be particularly rough on your digestion at the tail end of a diet when you're super dry, water excretion's higher, you're going to have less bile flow, less fat intake. Shit can fuck you up. You'll start to feel pretty gnarly after you're on Winstrol for a while. So, like I said before, poor bile flow or low to no bile flow is going to be one of the main issues here, being as those oral steroids are what we can do is, oh, my microphone died. Hopefully you guys can still hear me all right. What we can do is take it with fish oil or some sort of fat source and or TUDCA, which is going to be a bile salt, which can help expedite that. Or you could also do ox bile. So all those are things to test and trial and see what works best for you. If bile flow gets impaired, digestion suffers, your thyroid's going to suffer, everything down chain is going to suffer from impaired digestion. That's why we want to make sure we keep this dialed. So, mitigating digestive distress. What the fuck can we do? Want to manage our food volume. If you're in the off season eating 5,000 calories, Lord, I don't want you eating any retarded, super low calorie dense fucking salad that's like the size of your torso. You're going to be bloated as fuck and you're not going to be able to get your calories down. Keep our food quality high though, so still make sure we are getting a variety of fruits and vegetables through our diet. Typically anywhere between like 50 to 100 grams of vegetables per meal, or for roughly 3 servings a day is what I'll typically aim for. Proper hydration. Food's not going to be moving through you if it's like dehydrated sludge in your stomach. Consistent meal timing, so don't eat 4 meals within an hour span, and you should be good. And then common supports. Digestive enzymes, I'm not the biggest fan of, but I do like betaine and pepsin. Awesome. Doctor's Best has one. I think it's betaine, pepsin, and gentane or getaine. I don't know how to say it. That shit is awesome. I'll take one of those with every meal. Huge difference. Taurine is another good one. TUDCA, like I mentioned before. Ginger expedites our motility. Fermented food, like I discussed before, for making sure we have a good microbiota. Glutamine, collagen, and gelatin. Both these are going to help with offsetting the amount of methionine from some of the protein we eat, which can, to some degree, help with decreasing inflammation in our gut. Also, the glycine in there is going to help with just healing and repairing our epithelial junction. So, sodium and potassium, we're going to get to our electrolytes now. Supports pumps, performance, plasma volume, so your blood volume, and then often, I'll see a lot of people don't salt their food, which is kind of surprising, but you get people salting their food, you're like, holy fuck, I got some gnarly pumps. The issue is, though, with a lot of bodybuilders, or people I tend to work with in general, you see them not drinking enough water and or not having sufficient electrolyte intake, and they're wondering why their blood pressure is fucked. This is a super easy, low-cost, basic way to fix it. We'll typically make sure we get our potassium intake up from our diet and or using light salt on top of that if need be. Start salting our food with either normal salt or light salt like discussed before, and we should be good. Typically, I'll aim for like a 3-to-2 ratio of potassium to sodium. So say someone's 6,000 milligrams of potassium, maybe like 4,000 milligrams of sodium, and you'll typically see blood pressure is good, pumps are awesome, all the good shit. So calcium and magnesium, all these electrolytes sort of have like a codependent relationship, like sodium and potassium bounce each other out. Calcium and magnesium, not as much interrelated, but both still very important. Calcium is responsible for muscle contraction, muscle relaxation, nervous system signaling, recovery, sleep quality, blood pressure regulation, ATP production. Magnesium is extremely important, so is calcium as well. All these electrolytes are important. Make sure you get plenty of them from diet and or supplements. Magnesium, I supplement with a fuck ton of. I'll take like 200 milligrams with Each of my meals, I have 6 meals a day, so that's 1,200 milligrams, and then I take 300 milligrams at bedtime as well. So like 1,500 mg of magnesium a day. Make sure that's not citrate, so you don't fucking shit yourself. Micronutrients, vitamins, and minerals. All the common gaps I see people typically have. Why they matter. Your body needs these substrates. There's a reason they're essential vitamins and minerals. If you're slacking on them, then your body's function is slacking. I don't know about you guys. I'm trying to get dialed. I'm trying to get fucking huge. No box goes unchecked. So, easy way to fill this gap is we can supplement on top of our already high quality diet with a variety of fruits and vegetables. Typically, what I'll use for my micronutrient is I like pure encapsulations, the one multivitamin. Fills most gaps for most people. And then on top of that, make sure we get our fruits and vegetables. We should be good. So, general consensus from all this. Nutrients should support our output. The goal is to push as hard as possible without destroying our digestion, blood pressure, lipids, blood sugar, and all that's going to lead to our long-term health. Our nutrition has the goal of supporting all the following: performance, recovery, digestion, health, longevity, and muscle growth. Because in bodybuilding, what are we doing? We're building our bodies, right? We can't fucking build our bodies if we're not digesting the food. Our body's not going to have the energy. Our cells aren't going to have the energy to grow new muscle cells. So what do we got to do? Make sure our digestion and our diet is dialed the fuck in so we can provide that energy to keep this process going. So what's your general rule of thumb? Fucking balanced diet. Don't eat like a retard. Don't get yourself super fucking fat and inflamed. Check your blood work. Check your blood sugar, check your blood pressure, dial in your electrolyte intake, eat a fuck ton of carbs, relative, don't spaz and eat 1,500 grams of carbs and then complain that you got fat, but that's pretty much it. Any questions, comments, concerns, let me know in the comments down below. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.